Oh, girlfriend! Manzai!
Before it became a teen classic, 16 Candles was a gamble. No heat, no air conditioning, no star power. A first-time director, a backup script written in fear, and a cast who didn't even like each other at first. Critics shrugged, box offices yawned, and nobody thought it would survive past opening weekend. They were wrong. These are 17 weird facts about 16 Candles, and the bonus reveals the scene almost nobody was ever meant to see. Number 1. Hughes wrote the script in one weekend, staring at Molly Ringwald's headshot. John Hughes wrote the entire 16 Candles screenplay in one weekend, literally 2 days, over 4th of July, 1983. But here's the weird part. He wrote it while staring at Molly Ringwald's headshot pinned above his desk. Hughes had received a stack of young actress photos from his ICM agent, including shots of Robin Wright and Ali Sheedy. He picked Ringwald's photo out of the pile, tacked it to his bulletin board, and spent the holiday weekend banging out the script with her image staring back at him. When it came time to cast the movie, Hughes told the studio, "Cast the girl in the picture." That was it. No audition for Ringwald. 15-year-old Molly had appeared on The Facts of Life and earned a Golden Globe nomination for Tempest. But Hughes wrote Samantha Baker specifically for her based purely on her headshot. Decades later, Ringwald admitted the whole thing feels a little peculiar. A grown man writing a teen romance while staring at a teenager's photograph. But in 1983, she was just thrilled to be cast.
Look through things very much. I mean, I spend most of my time with the actors.
Number 2. Hughes only wrote 16 Candles because he thought The Breakfast Club wouldn't sell. 16 Candles exists because Hughes panicked. His original plan was to debut as a director with The Breakfast Club, a small single-location script he wrote in 1982, financed for $1 million. But after briefly getting fired from Mr. Mom in 1983 for clashing with producers, he spiraled. What if a quiet movie about 5 teens in detention killed his career before it began? Fearing it was too uncommercial, he spent 4th of July weekend 1983 hammering out 16 Candles as a more energetic, mainstream backup. Then, Mr. Mom became a huge hit, and Universal handed Hughes a 3-year, $30 million deal. Executive producer Ned Tannen agreed to make both films, but only if 16 Candles came first. So the backup script became his debut, and The Breakfast Club got pushed to 1985. Number 3. Jim Carrey, Viggo Mortensen, Ralph Macchio, and Emilio Estevez all auditioned. Casting was a parade of future stars. For Ted the Geek, Hughes saw Jim Carrey, John Cryer, Keith Coogan, and Ralph Macchio, but they all played exaggerated nerd cliches. Then, 15-year-old Anthony Michael Hall walked in and played Ted like a real kid instead of a caricature, and Hughes knew instantly he was the one. For Jake Ryan, the final contenders were Michael Schoeffling and Viggo Mortensen. Ringwald later admitted she wanted Viggo. "He made me weak in the knees." During the audition, Mortensen went in for the kiss. Schoeffling, 23, refused to kiss 15-year-old Ringwald. Producer Michelle Manning still chose Schoeffling because he looked like the ideal dreamboat. Emilio Estevez also auditioned and didn't land the role. In another universe, Aragorn might have been Jake Ryan.
Sorry.
Number 4. Ringwald and Hall hated each other until Hughes took them record shopping. When Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall first met on set, they absolutely hated each other. Hughes was freaking out because zero chemistry between his leads would kill the entire movie. His solution? He literally dragged both 15-year-olds to a record store and forced them to browse albums together, like it was couples therapy. It worked. They discovered they both loved the same new wave bands, including a group called the Rave-Ups. Suddenly, they were inseparable. Ringwald even scribbled the Rave-Ups on Samantha's notebook in the movie as an inside joke. The record store intervention worked so well that Hall and Ringwald actually started dating between filming 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club. So in real life, Ted the Geek got the girl. Sure, their romance didn't last, but for a brief moment in 1984, Anthony Michael Hall was living every teenage boy's fantasy, dating Molly Ringwald.
I don't know, I just get the feeling that something's bothering you. Something other than your brother.
Number 5. Paul Dooley turned down the role, twice until Hughes wrote the iconic father-daughter scene. Paul Dooley turned down the role of Sam's father twice before Hughes wrote the scene that became the emotional heart of the entire film. Dooley had been offered the part based on his dad role in Breaking Away, but the original script only had him on screen for 2 or 3 minutes at the beginning and end, just a stock dad with no development. Dooley said no. Universal offered more money. Dooley said no again. Then, John Hughes personally called him and said he'd written a brand new scene specifically for Dooley, the late-night couch conversation, where Jim Baker apologizes for forgetting Sam's birthday and delivers the iconic "that's why they call them crushes" speech. Dooley finally said yes. That 3-minute scene became the soul of the movie. Decades later, Dooley wrote in his memoir that young women still approach him on the street saying, "I wish you were my dad," based entirely on that conversation Hughes added, just to land the actor. Number 6. Dooley and Ringwald's mom changed a creepy line about Sam's missing underwear. The father-daughter scene almost ended with a line so creepy, it would have destroyed the whole moment. The original script had Jim Baker giving Sam a friendly pat on the behind, while asking, "Where the heck are your panties?" This was referencing the fact that Sam had given her underwear to Ted earlier. Both Dooley and Ringwald's real mother were horrified when they read it. On set, Ringwald's mom quietly asked Dooley what could be done. Dooley improvised a replacement. Instead of the panties line, she'd say, "When you finally meet your Mr. Right, it'll be forever." Ringwald's mom loved it. They pitched it to Hughes, who immediately agreed. In his 2022 memoir, Dooley explained that the original line felt like copping a feel rather than a fatherly gesture. One improvised line change saved the scene from becoming uncomfortable instead of heartwarming.
Do you know Samantha Baker?
Number 7. The film was shot in brutal 100+ degree heat in an unair-conditioned gym. The high school dance scene was filmed at Niles East High School in Skokie, Illinois during summer 1983. The gym had zero air conditioning due to budget constraints. Temperatures inside soared past 100 degrees Fahrenheit under the hot film lights. Cast and crew were drenched in sweat for the entire week-long shoot. To make matters worse, Sam's bedroom set was also built inside that same sweltering gymnasium, meaning Ringwald had to film intimate scenes while dying of heat. At least Hughes let her decorate the bedroom with items from her own real room, including posters and personal belongings, which gave the set an authentic teenage girl vibe, despite everyone slowly melting. The costume designer begged Ringwald not to wear that tilted back fedora hat in the opening scene, but she insisted. After the movie came out, teenage girls across America started wearing their hats tilted back exactly like that. One stubborn wardrobe choice in a 100-degree gym launched a nationwide fashion trend.
Thank you.
No, you didn't see it right.
Number 8. The 1974 Rolls-Royce Corniche belonged to Hughes's friend's father. The iconic burgundy Rolls-Royce that Ted drives Caroline home in wasn't a studio rental. It belonged to the father of one of John Hughes's friends. It was a 1974 Rolls-Royce Corniche, worth over $66,000 even back in 1984. Hughes sweet-talked his friend into letting him use the actual car for the drunken joyride scenes, where Anthony Michael Hall, who didn't have a driver's license, pretends to drive Caroline around. The shots of Ted driving through the streets of Skokie are real. Hall was actually behind the wheel of this incredibly expensive luxury car, with only 3,239 units ever made worldwide. The Corniche came equipped with a 6.75-liter Rolls-Royce V8 engine and represented the absolute pinnacle of 70s luxury. Today, a 1974 Corniche in good condition is worth well over $150,000. The car became one of the most memorable props in 80s cinema, right up there with Ferris Bueller's Ferrari. Number 9. Gedde Watanabe was 28 years old, born in Utah, and faked his accent. Gedde Watanabe, who played Long Duke Dong, was a 28-year-old Utah-born theater actor with zero accent. At his audition, Watanabe faked the broken English and heavy accent, and Hughes cast him immediately. Watanabe kept the fake accent hidden from everyone until the first table read, terrified Hughes would fire him when he discovered Watanabe spoke perfect American English. Hughes just laughed. The character became the most controversial element of the film, immediately criticized by Asian American advocacy groups as an offensive racist stereotype. A gong sound effect plays every time Dong enters a scene. Asian American kids reported being taunted with dongers and quotes from the film for years. Watanabe later said he was accosted by angry women at the Metropolitan Museum of Art who demanded to know how he could do such a role. He defended it at the time, claiming Dong was different from submissive, smart Asian stereotypes, but decades later, the character is widely considered one of Hollywood's most offensive Asian caricatures. According to Watanabe, there was even a deleted scene where Long Duke Dong raps about why he loves America. That footage has never surfaced.
It already came true.
Number 10. The soundtrack had 30+ songs, but the original album only released 5 tracks. Hughes was music obsessed and crammed 16 Candles with over 30 songs, Billy Idol's Rebel Yell, Thompson Twins' If You Were Here, David Bowie's Young Americans, Wham, Kajagoogoo, The Stray Cats, Oingo Boingo, Spandau Ballet, and The Specials. Anthony Michael Hall even sings the Beatles' Birthday to Sam in the auto shop. Hughes personally selected every single track, spending hours matching songs to specific emotional beats. But when the official soundtrack album was released in 1984, it was only a 5-song mini-album on vinyl and cassette. Music rights issues prevented a full release. For years, fans couldn't legally buy most of the film's music. The incomplete soundtrack became legendary among Hughes fans as one of the most frustrating missing albums of the 80s. A special edition 2-disc soundtrack with 37 songs wasn't released until 2004, 20 years after the movie. By then, fans had spent 2 decades making bootleg compilations and trading mixtapes just to recreate the film's musical experience. Number 11. Hughes successfully appealed the R rating to get PG, 8 weeks before PG-13 existed. The MPAA initially gave 16 Candles an R rating for shower scene nudity, multiple F-bombs, content involving Ted and drunk Caroline, and drug use from Ginny's muscle relaxers. Hughes wanted real teenagers to see the film, so he personally appealed the decision and convinced the board to downgrade it to PG in February 1984. The movie hit theaters May 4th with a PG rating, despite nudity, profanity, implications, and use. 8 weeks later, in July 1984, the MPAA created the PG-13 rating after parental backlash over PG films slipping in adult content. 16 Candles missed it by 2 months. Had it opened just a little later, it would have been among the first PG-13 releases. Instead, it became the example that proved the PG rating system needed a middle ground.
Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for coming to get me.
Number 12, the iconic birthday cake was made of cardboard because real cake kept melting. The final scene, Sam and Jake kissing over a glowing birthday cake, is pure 80s mythology, but the cake itself was fake. Hughes tried using real cakes repeatedly, but studio lights melted the icing and candles within minutes, leaving the cake sagging and unusable. After ruining multiple cake, the prop team built a cardboard replica sturdy enough to survive hours of shooting. So when Sam whispers it already came true, she's staring at painted cardboard with real candles stuck in it. Ringwald had to blow them out, take after take, until the timing was perfect. The movie's most romantic image was essentially a prop trick, but it didn't matter. That cardboard cake became one of the most memorable visuals in teen movie history.
16, you know, a big party, a band, tons of people.
Number 13. The movie opened at number 2 and wasn't an immediate hit. 16 Candles premiered May 4th, 1984 in 1,240 theaters and opened at number 2, earning $4.4 million its first weekend. It lost to Breakin', a breakdancing movie most people barely recall today, made for $6.5 million. The film ultimately pulled in $23.6 million domestically. A decent return, but nowhere near blockbuster territory. It didn't crack the top 40 highest-grossing films of 1984 and seemed like it might quietly fade away. The real turning point came later through VHS rentals and constant cable replays on TBS and AMC throughout the late 80s and 90s. Home video turned 16 Candles into a cult-defining classic, especially among teenagers who discovered it years after theaters. In Germany, the movie was retitled Das darf man nur als Erwachsener. One may do that only as an adult. An unintentionally ironic twist, considering the film's PG rating and its teen audience. The movie failed to dominate theaters, but it conquered living rooms. Number 14. Ringwald and Hall won major awards and briefly dated. In December 1984, Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall both won Young Artist Awards for Best Actress and Best Actor in a Motion Picture. They became the first and only teen performers to win both leading categories for the same film, a record that still stands decades later. Between 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club, the two briefly dated, turning the movie's geek gets the girl fantasy into an unexpected real-life twist. Their relationship didn't last, but for a short moment in 1984, Hall was living every teenage boy's dream. After the Brat Pack era faded in the 90s, both actors struggled professionally. Hall even turned down Pretty in Pink to avoid typecasting, a decision that slowed his career for years. It wasn't until the 2000s that he started rebuilding his momentum. The legacy of 16 Candles followed both of them, long after the credits rolled. Number 15. Jake Ryan walked away from Hollywood to build furniture. Michael Schofling became an instant heartthrob after playing Jake Ryan at 23. He appeared in films like Vision Quest and Mermaids, but struggled to find substantial roles as he aged out of teen idol casting. In 1991, after his final film, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, he retired from acting at age 30. He moved back to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, with his wife Valerie, and opened a custom woodworking business. He explained that furniture making suited him better. There's no director, no script. The concept is me. Schofling avoided interviews, publicity, and Where Are They Now segments becoming famously private. GQ once called him the Salinger of male models, actors. A visitor who met him at his shop in 2010 said he seemed genuinely content and had no interest in returning to Hollywood. His daughter Scarlett later became a model in New York. Jake Ryan didn't chase fame. He chose a quieter life and built it by hand.
Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for coming to get me.
Number 16. Ringwald's real 16th birthday was far happier than Sam Baker's on-screen. Sam Baker's 16th birthday is forgotten by everyone. In real life, Molly Ringwald's 16th birthday was the opposite. She turned 16 on February 18th, the same birthday as John Hughes, and celebrated with a big party and a Volkswagen convertible as a gift. She later joked that being a teen star made dating harder because boys were too intimidated to approach her. Meanwhile, Anthony Michael Hall revealed that during filming, both he and Ringwald were too young to go anywhere on weekends, so they spent their free time crashing bar and bat mitzvahs at their hotel, just for fun and free food. The contrast between Sam's on-screen misery and Ringwald's real-life celebration underscored how different fiction and reality could be. The girl America saw as lonely and invisible was, in truth, one of the most famous teenagers in the country.
What's your first name?
Long.
Number 17. Deleted breakdancing footage and a lost Long Duke dong rap. The dance scene briefly shows breakdancers in the background, but Hughes originally filmed a much larger breakdancing sequence. When production began in July 1983, breakdancing was still emerging. By the film's release in May 1984, the trend had exploded nationwide. Hughes realized he'd missed the cultural moment by months, so the footage was cut. An extra from the shoot confirmed the larger sequence existed, but never made it into theaters. Even stranger, Giddy Watanabe later revealed that a deleted scene featured Long Duke Dong performing a rap about loving America. Multiple cast members confirmed the scene was filmed, but no footage has surfaced. Somewhere in Universal's archives, a lost rap sequence sits unseen. Fans have been searching for it for decades, making it one of the movie's most talked about missing moments.
Did you see how trash?
Bonus: a TV-only cafeteria scene exists and never made it to home video. A unique cafeteria scene aired only on broadcast television versions of the film, particularly on networks like TBS. After Jake grabs Sam's, the TV-only scene shows Sam in the lunch line, spotting Jake smiling at her and panicking before spilling her drink and fleeing. This footage never appeared in the theatrical release, VHS, DVD, or Blu-ray versions. For years, fans argued over whether the scene was real or imagined. It's real, but only preserved on old TV recordings. Why the broadcast version included exclusive footage remains unclear. The mystery has fueled fan debates for decades. 16 Candles may be a staple of home video history, but one of its scenes lived only on television. 16 Candles launched John Hughes as the king of teen cinema and gave us the Brat Pack era that defined a generation. It's a complicated legacy, beloved for its honest portrayal of teenage awkwardness and heartbreak, but rightfully criticized for racist stereotyping and problematic. Molly Ringwald herself has publicly wrestled with the film in the Talk Me Too era, writing in The New Yorker that she feels very differently about the movies now. Despite its flaws, 16 Candles remains a cultural touchstone that proved teen movies could be funny, heartfelt, and emotionally authentic all at once. If you loved this deep dive, smash that like button. Subscribe for more 80s movie chaos, and drop a comment with your favorite 16 Candles moment, or which classic film we should tear apart next. Thanks for watching.